Are you a B2B technology company and you want to use positive and ongoing press coverage in order to impress and get noticed by your prospect customers in order ultimately to help drive sales? Well, if you do, I have on this video 4 must-dos that will help you get ongoing press coverage to get noticed by your prospect customers. And what I've also got at the end is one gem of how you can link your press coverage with what your sales team do in order to get noticed by your prospects. So hang on to that 5th gem I have at the end. So first thing, in order to get ongoing press coverage, the first must do is that you must release news stories only when appropriate. What I mean by this is that at any point in time of your B2B technology company, you will likely only have so and so many news stories that will be successful in generating press coverage in your target media. And as a B2B technology company, your target media may include the national media, and it may likely include particular vertical media, industry specific media, and it may include technology media. But you need to be selective in which news stories you are distributing for those target media. For the national media, that story is going to be really extraordinarily strong. And for technology and the vertical industry media, that news story has got to be particular and relevant to them. So you need to make sure your news stories and your press releases that you are submitting are bang on and are a good story for the journalists that you are targeting on those particular media. So be selective with your news stories. You want to be making sure that you are getting around about 100% success rates in getting positive press coverage for those news releases that you are producing. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you are being selective by making sure that you are only pitching good news stories. My second vital must do for you is to think about expert opinion or thought leadership in your target media. Thought leadership is a great way to making sure that your key execs are seen as experts by being contributors to the media read by your target audiences. So thought leadership pieces can be anywhere between 500 and 2,000 words, and they are a key way to make sure that your company is being seen, visibly seen in the media as an absolute leader in that B2B technology space. Third thing that you must be doing is you need to make sure that it's all in the pitch that you make, whether that's news release or expert opinion, and not the contacts that you may have in your target media. Sure, contacts are extraordinarily helpful, but at the end of the day, the one thing that any target journalist or editor is looking for is either a good story or a great expert opinion piece pitch, or else someone to feature in a feature that they may be writing. So particular around that news story has got to be hard hitting, it's got to be a genuine news story, and make sure you, for example, when you're doing that pitch, you put the hard-hitting headline in the email subject line, so the journalists you are pitching, it's very, very clear to them that this is a story coming their way, and write, I would say, around about 300 words. My background is as a journalist, and we use media insider methods when we pitch to particular media, but one key to that will be that email subject line, the headline in that news release you are writing, and making sure that news story is a genuine news story. The same again goes for that expert opinion, thought leadership pitch. Let me emphasize here, I really strongly urge you to always pitch the idea for an expert opinion piece. So what you are doing is pitching to the journalist or editor that so-and-so writes about this particular angle for that target media. So what you are doing here is giving you the opportunity and the space for your pitch to be accepted, which if you do it right it will be, and only then do you actually write that beautifully crafted 800, 1200 word piece to a commission. So what you're doing there is pitching the idea, and that journalist or editor says, yes, I would like that please, and I would like 1000 words by so and so date. So what you're doing is writing to a commission, and that's very, very important, because it's the most time effective way to make sure that you're not writing a beautifully crafted piece that's not already been accepted, or at least the idea has been accepted. So that's my third must do. The fourth is follow up. Whether it's a news story or whether it's an expert opinion piece pitch, follow up. I've had to follow up with great expert opinion or thought leadership or news release stories maybe up to 9-10 times, and I only do it because I know it's going to be a great pitch I'm making, or a great story, so I know it's going to be of interest to my target media. But the reality is that journalists and editors, for a whole variety of reasons, will not get back to you. So be very, very consistent in that follow-up process, and there are ways and means of doing it, but you can follow up via email, via phone, even though nowadays it's more difficult to get hold of journalists by phone, or via Twitter, for example. Twitter has been a particular fruitful way to pitch to journalists. So those are my 4 vital must-dos. But lastly, I just want to give you this one gem of how your PR media exposure campaign can link in directly with your sales team. And this is something I got actually from speaking to a B2B technology company who told me this is what they do. So their strategy is to get the positive media exposure in whichever media it might be, and a particular emphasis on thought leadership. And their sales team maybe have a 50 or 100 customers that they are particularly targeting. So what they will do as part of that prospecting process is that they will print out that cutting of that thought leadership piece. They will then put it in an envelope, and they will send it directly with a personal note to that prospect who they are trying to reach. And the beauty of this is, because it's going via snail mail, your prospect will open it, and don't forget, it's a personal envelope. So it's handwritten, it's got a personal note inside, and that thought leadership clipping that they will be receiving will be directly relevant to them, and they will see that the executive of your company wrote it. So this is a really, really precision focused way to combine positive and ongoing press coverage with what your sales team is doing.